Hi, what's up? I hope you're good. It's Karabo. We're in the next part now. Please go gauge your bearings by checking out the previous part. In the previous part, I was speaking about my very traumatizing experiences one time with this one dude that literally treated me on a first date like I was a prostitute, took me to some place where he wanted to have sex with me, hit a chock-a-block there because the wife of the man that lived in that house was home, and then he negotiated with his friend as to what they're going to do with me, and you could tell his friend was getting annoyed with him as to like, I'm not going to be driving you around at all of the show. I eventually realized that that car was not his, it was his friend's. His friend was the one that was driving everybody all over the show. The first night it was him that was driving, but he left his car at home. So yeah, anyway, these were the events going on, and I realized that I was basically with men that were similar to my boss, but they had no respect for me because I was not their subordinate. And that boss of mine, by the way, years later, after we were all grown up, working our careers, he tried to pursue the girl that was also my age that I was working with. He tried to pursue her on some, we're not working together anymore, so how's it, Mabebeza, how about we, and I remember my friend being like, goodness, let's say my boss's name was Tepo. Do you know Tepo asked me out? And I'm like, I remember that he's married. Remember how he used to cheat on his wife. Remember how all these girls used to come, how those stories, those rumors we kept hearing in the mall about who he's sleeping with. He tried to make out of me one of his concubines. I was like, that basically means he's like that. You know him. You know that he again, I'm horses. So you should not be surprised that when he bumps into you later on in life that he's gonna holler at you, like it's what he does. And she's like, yo, we thought maybe, sometimes we think sometimes you think that maybe people grow up, but he never did. So here it is at my experiences with married men. This was one of my first experiences with married men and how they treat young girls, university students, impressionable females. Yeah, that was one of my first and last, frankly. No, not my last. It was one of my first. The others that came were imposed on me, pounced on me without me wanting anything to do with it. This is a situation, however, that I brought on myself, okay? But it was the first experience that I had with the behavior of married men in the presence of young impressionable women, and it was just disgusting for me to gaze upon. I couldn't deal. Anyway, whatever. So this dude breaks away from his friend who's kind of agitated at this stage. You can tell he just wants to go home. And then he comes to me and he's like, let's book into a hotel. I'm going to book into a hotel. I remember just being like, you know what I thought at that stage? He was like, let's go. First he said, let's go to a hotel. And I was like, I remember thinking, as many hotels have got restaurants at the bottom, like in the lobby. So maybe this guy just wants to take me for dinner at a hotel, but not so much to book into. I joined. So I, of course, interrogated him on some, what are we going to be doing at this hotel? Just to gauge, are we going to be eating dinner? Is this, I'm still trying to give this little random the benefit of the doubt. And then he was like, no, we're going to book in. I was like, book in? And I started to think maybe there's a party at that hotel, and this party is happening inside one particular hotel room. So maybe he wants me to go and dancing inside a hotel room with a bunch of other people that are there. He's like, no, it's just going to be the two of us. I was like, well, if it's just the two of us, dude, understand. At this stage, I got honest. I was like, I'm not going to have sex with you. Literally, all of my face changed, and I was like, I'm not going to have sex with you. If you want to go take me to a hotel restaurant so we can go eat and book into some room, which I don't even want to go into, understand that I'm not going to have sex with you. And you know what his next sentence was? Well, why would I want to book into a hotel if you're not going to have sex with me? There's nothing in it for me. He literally said those words. Maybe not verbatim, but some version of that. If there's nothing in it for me, what's the point? And I remember standing there on some, how do you expect me to respond to that? I was like, then in that case, please take me home. He was like, home? You live in Florida. It's far. I was like, what do you expect then is going to be my life, guy? And I begged him like a sobbing little girl, please take me home. Please, I beg you. I don't have anywhere to go. I don't want to spend the night in the street. Please. And he felt guilty. He felt guilty for basically doing this to another person's child. Okay, you went and grabbed some man and woman's daughter and you stranded her in Santon. So because he felt guilty after I told him I'm not going to sleep with him, his conscience caught up with him. He was like, fine, I will negotiate with my friend to take you home, but I'm not going to be coming with you guys. Yo, guys, he went to his friend and was like, Ndoda, please take her home. Please take her home, take her home. They were again talking among themselves. And this Ndoda guy looked at me and was like, fine, this guy was like, fine, I'll take her back home. And the guy then came back to me, was like, fine, my friend will take you home. The ride to drive this guy to his apartment was so awkward, and he lived just around the corner. Another lonely little house, another expensive home in this neighborhood. And we dropped him off, and I was like, this dude lives so close to the house that we just come from, and yet he did not want me going to his apartment, his house. We did not go to his home. We went to the home of some other dude. Meaning, I'm busy putting 2 and 2 together in my brain. There is a woman in that house that he's going back home to. At which stage I realized, snap, I'd be messing with a married man. I was literally messing with a dude that's married, that doesn't wear his ring, that probably upon getting to the gate of his complex took it out of his pocket and then put it on, walked into a house on some Unjan baby, and like got dinner when he was about to say Unjan baby after ramming into some strange girl and then going home to his wife to offend her with his presence. Likely probably first taking a shower before he can like talk to his wife or even hug her. Anyway, whatever. When he got dropped off, it was all weird. He didn't even say bye to me. He just got out of the car and closed the door. So disappointed and embarrassed. Whatever, I didn't care. After he got dropped off, his friend was like, come to the front seat because I don't want to drive with you in the back like I'm a chauffeur. So I moved from the back seat to the front seat, and he knows where I stayed. They picked me up at my house, so I did not need to give this dude directions. But guess what the random did? So I lived in Florida, Reprobate, and to get to Florida, Reprobate, you would have to use the either the M1 North and then join the N1 South, or maybe if you're gonna do the M1 South, you could and then enter Florida via Main Reef Road, but that's like dry. That's like a very long way around to do it. The most feasible way around was the same way that we came to Santon: M1 South, N1 North, and M1 North, sorry, and then N1 South. That, yeah, okay, look, you wouldn't understand what that all is in your terms if you're not from South Africa, but you don't have to. Long story short is there was one optimal direction, or optimal distance to take that would get us home much faster. He could have also used like inroads that would also have been quicker, like go through Santon, you know, like Jan Smuts and then Republic Road going via Randburg, and then, you know, past Rema and then enter Reprobate, and then go, yeah, there were so many more optimal ways than the route that he was trying to take. So when he got on the M1 South, remember, M1 North was what made sense, or go straight through Santon, Republic Road, that's what made sense. This dude goes M1 South, and I'm like, M1 South, airport, because I don't think at the time it was yet to be Tambo. Where are we going? And when this dude when he on-ramped onto the M1 South, that way, not that way, I was like, where are you going? This is not the way that we came. This is not the most optimal route to take me home. He was like, ngifuna uqala ekhonjini or ejardini or eroundini. I wanna first start at the hood, like ngifuna qala ukuyondlula ejardini, ngifuna qala ukundlula ekhonjini lam Alex. Yo, guys, when he said that, he was like, I first want to go to my house in Alex. Alex is not far from Santon, but something inside me told me that I am not going to get out of Alex without my dignity being ransacked, and I am safer in Santon than I ever can be stranded in Alex. If I find myself in the streets of Alex with nowhere to look because I refuse to sleep with some stupid guy, I might get accosted by gangs, go Alexi, or I might find myself just freezing on the streets of Alex until morning because Gibadile somewhere. I was safer, I imagined, in Santon. Like in this like super quiet at night, sort of kind of, you know, streets are very dead at night, gentrified, Lani, rich people suburb. I was safer there than Kokasi, Ko Alexi, Kili one as a girl at night. More letting a whole bunch of violence, makinza, gangs, and what have you. Yazi, the hairs on my skin rose. I was like, why do you feel a need to go home first? You're gonna eventually go home. That's where you live. you're gonna eventually go home. That's where you live. Why must you start then cleaning and then only take me all the way to Reprobate? I was like, dude, why do you feel the need to go home first, since that's where you live? He was like, yo, I mean, you know, nothing. It's like he literally said it in not so many words, that nothing is for mahala. Ngigisendlini, so that you can give me what you didn't want to give my friend, and then I'll take you home. Yo, at this stage, I was like, yazini. I didn't call him a rapist, but I might as well have. I basically told him, if you don't take me back to Santon, at least Santon Mall, ne, I am going to take my head out of your car, and I'm going to gesture and flail here on the highway and scream help to any passing car, and eventually somebody is going to call either the police or stop you right here on the highway. We're gonna die together on this highway because of how I am about to cause a ruckus on the highway. You either take me back to Santon, or you take in your stride that you could end up dead in a car accident because I'm acting a fool on the highway, and I also want to open the door and roll out, and there are cars all over the show that can see what's going on. It wasn't so late that the highway was empty. It was around 9:30 at night at this stage, and this dude was like, fine, drop a Santon. I was like, please drop me by the library. I told him to drop me off at the Santon library. He on-ramped onto the next highway and then went around. He off-ramped onto the next highway, went around and on-ramped onto the M1 South, and then dropped me off at Santon City. He refused to take me home because nothing is for mahala. He dropped me off at Santon City at the library, right? And I felt safer there, but the mall was closed. There was nobody there, and I was freaking out. I didn't know how in the world I was going to get home, and I was just like in a knot. Like, I was freaking out. Do you understand? I needed to get somebody to pick me up there. I told you guys that my mother was I don't think my mom was home. I don't think my mother was in Johannesburg that day, right? I had a friend who had a car from my university. She was next part, guys, we've been speaking for too long.